Awareness is the doorway through which the divine becomes visible. Most people rush through life without ever pausing to truly see what is happening around them. They move from one task to another, one problem to another, one crisis to another, and they never realize that in every single moment there is a message, a sign, a gentle whisper trying to guide them. When you train your mind to become aware, you start to understand that nothing in your life is random. Every encounter, every delay, every blessing, every disappointment carries a signal, and that signal becomes crystal clear the moment you choose to slow down and notice. Awareness is not a gift that shows up overnight. It is a discipline. It is the daily practice of pulling your attention away from noise, distractions, negativity, and fear, and placing it on what truly matters. The more aware you become, the more you begin to see God weaving through the fabric of your life. When you walk into a room with awareness, you don't just see people, you sense energy, intention, and direction. You start to recognize when someone was sent into your life to help you grow, and when someone was placed in your path to test your patience or strengthen your resolve. Without awareness, you think these are just random interactions. With awareness, you realize these moments carry divine choreography. You see God in the timing, how someone appears exactly when you need advice, how an opportunity shows up right when you were about to quit, how a challenge strikes at the exact moment you are becoming too comfortable. The aware mind says, there is something here for me. The unaware mind says, why is this happening to me? One sees guidance, the other sees inconvenience. Awareness deepens your connection, not because life becomes easier, but because life becomes clearer. You start recognizing how many times you were protected without even knowing it. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the plan that fell apart. When you train your awareness, you begin to see the hidden mercy inside those moments. You begin to understand that what looked like a setback was actually a setup. What seemed like a loss was actually a redirection. You stop calling things bad luck because you now understand that every moment is infused with intelligence. Nothing is meaningless. Nothing is wasted. Everything carries purpose. Training your awareness also means learning to observe your own internal world. Most people live on autopilot, never examining their thoughts, their emotions, or their reactions. They feel angry and assume the world made them angry. They feel jealous and assume someone else caused it. They feel discouraged and think life is the problem. But an aware person pauses and asks, why am I feeling this? What is this emotion trying to teach me? What part of me is asking to grow? When you do this, you start seeing God not just around you, but within you. You begin to see how the divine uses your feelings as tools to guide you toward healing, strength, and clarity. Awareness is also the bridge between chaos and peace. It is the ability to stop in the middle of a difficult situation and recognize I am not alone in this moment. You start noticing the subtle ways solutions appear. Sometimes it's ideas, sometimes it's people, sometimes it's sudden clarity that wasn't there before. You may call it intuition, a feeling, a nudge, but that awareness is what allows you to catch it. People who never train their awareness miss these moments because they are too busy reacting. The aware mind responds. The unaware mind panics. When you train your mind to stay awake, alert, and attentive, you start seeing how God has been speaking to you your entire life. Through nature, through circumstances, through timing, through silence, through intuition, and through the people he sends your way. You realize how many times you ignored signs because you were too distracted. You realize how many breakthroughs were delayed simply because you didn't notice the guidance being offered. Awareness turns every ordinary moment into a spiritual moment. It transforms a walk into reflection, a delay into a message, a difficult person into a lesson, and a blessing into a reminder that you are cared for. The more aware you become, the more you start to recognize the divine fingerprints on every part of your journey. Your thoughts are the lenses through which you view the world, and the world will always reflect the quality of those lenses. When your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and confusion. Everything around you looks uncertain, threatening, or unfair. But when your thoughts are grounded in faith, clarity, and possibility, suddenly life begins to open in ways you never imagined. The circumstances don't change first, the thinking does. And once the thinking shifts, reality starts to align with the new internal vision. People often underestimate the influence of their inner dialogue, not realizing that every thought carries energy, direction, and intention. What you repeatedly think becomes what you eventually see. If the mind consistently rehearses negativity, you will naturally start noticing everything that confirms those negative expectations. If the mind rehearses faith, strength, and optimism, you begin to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. Every day, your mind is interpreting thousands of moments, and those interpretations determine how you feel, how you respond, and what you attract. Two people can go through the exact same situation and have completely different experiences simply because their thoughts filter the event differently. One person sees a setback, the other sees a lesson. One sees an interruption, the other sees divine timing. One sees failure, the other sees refinement. Your thoughts are not passive, they create meaning. They tell you what something means, and once you believe that meaning, it becomes your reality. That is why training your mind is essential if you want to see God in everything. A mind filled with negativity cannot see divine purpose. A mind filled with fear cannot recognize divine protection. A mind filled with worry cannot appreciate divine timing. What you train your mind to focus on becomes the world you live in. When you train your thoughts intentionally, you start catching yourself in moments where the old mindset would have reacted with frustration, anger, or doubt, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Your mind begins to say, what is this trying to show me? Instead of assuming things are falling apart, you begin considering that maybe things are falling into place. Instead of expecting the worst, you begin preparing for the best. This shift does not happen instantly. It requires practice, repetition, and awareness. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. You start thinking from a place of faith instead of fear, from a place of strength instead of weakness, from a place of purpose instead of confusion. And gradually, you begin to notice that life mirrors those inner changes. Your thoughts also shape your emotional world. When you think thoughts of gratitude, your body relaxes, your heart opens, and your spirit becomes receptive. When you think thoughts of scarcity or fear, your body tightens, your breath shortens, and your vision narrows. This is why people who live in constant fear feel stuck. They cannot see beyond the problem because their thoughts keep them trapped in survival mode. But the moment a new thought enters, a new possibility enters, a single shift in thinking can open a door you never noticed, reveal a solution you never considered, or give you a level of peace you didn't know you could access. Thoughts create internal space, and that space allows you to see life from a higher perspective. Training your mind also means refusing to let your environment dictate your thinking. Most people think their thoughts are automatic, but in reality, they are choices, small choices, repeated over and over until they become habits. When something goes wrong, you can choose a thought that empowers you instead of one that weakens you. When you face uncertainty, you can choose a thought that gives you courage instead of one that fuels fear. When people misunderstand you or disappoint you, you can choose thoughts of compassion instead of resentment. These choices accumulate, and over time, they reshape the way you interpret the world. And as your thoughts evolve, your spiritual vision expands. You start seeing how often your worries were unnecessary, how many problems were imagined, and how many fears were illusions created by your mind. You begin noticing the subtle ways God has been guiding you, protecting you, and elevating you, ways you never recognized before because your thoughts were too clouded to see clearly. When your thinking becomes aligned with faith, you don't just look at life differently, life itself begins to respond differently. Gratitude is not just saying thank you when something good happens. It is a deliberate way of seeing, a disciplined way of thinking, and a powerful way of aligning yourself with divine awareness. When you practice gratitude consistently, You sharpen the inner lens through which you interpret life. Suddenly, things you used to overlook become meaningful, and moments you used to rush through become reminders that you are supported, guided, and blessed in ways you never recognized before. Gratitude heightens your sensitivity to the subtle details of life, and those details become the places where you begin to notice the presence of God. Most people think gratitude is a reaction, something you feel after life gives you something you wanted. But the truth is the opposite. Gratitude is a cause, not an effect. It is the mindset that invites blessings, not the reward for receiving them. When you train your mind to look for things to be grateful for, even in difficult situations, you automatically shift your emotional state. You move from frustration to appreciation, from stress to peace, from fear to faith. And the moment your emotional state shifts, your vision expands. You start noticing possibilities that were invisible before. You start understanding lessons hidden inside challenges. You start recognizing how even the things that didn't go your way were shaping you, preparing you, strengthening you for something greater. Gratitude also changes the way you process discomfort. Instead of seeing delays as punishments, you start seeing them as protection. Instead of viewing obstacles as roadblocks, you begin interpreting them as training. You realize that the very moments you once complained about were the moments that shaped your character, develop your patience, and deepen your understanding. Gratitude allows you to look at a painful season and say, I didn't enjoy it, but I grew because of it. It lets you look at a closed door and say, maybe that door wasn't meant for me. Instead of drowning in disappointment, it teaches you to look at what you have instead of obsessing over what you lack. And when you do that consistently, your whole world shifts. A grateful mind becomes receptive. It becomes open to insight, wisdom, and clarity. When you're grateful, you slow down enough to notice the quiet ways God tries to reach you, the small kindness someone showed you, the unexpected call that lifts your spirit, the little progress in your journey that reminds you not to give up, the moment of peace in the middle of chaos. Gratitude trains you to catch these moments instead of letting them pass unnoticed. It reminds you that divine presence is not only in the big miracles, but also in the everyday softness of life. Gratitude also transforms your relationship. When you focus on what people do right instead of what they do wrong, you begin to appreciate qualities you previously dismissed. You speak differently, you listen differently, and you respond differently. You become more patient, more understanding, more compassionate because you are no longer dominated by judgment. Gratitude shifts your heart from expecting perfection to recognizing effort. And once your heart makes that shift, you begin to feel connected to others on a deeper level. But one of the most powerful effects of gratitude is how it changes your expectation. When you are grateful, you begin to expect goodness, not in an entitled way, but in a trusting way. You start believing that something beautiful is on its way, even if you can't see it yet. You trust the process more, and you fear the unknown less. Gratitude creates a mindset where you believe that life is working for you, not against you. And that belief changes everything. What you expect, you invite. What you appreciate, you multiply. Gratitude doesn't just sharpen your vision, it elevates your spirit, strengthens your faith, and opens your eyes to the countless ways God is already moving in your life. Every experience you go through carries meaning, even when you cannot see it. Life is not a series of random events thrown together without purpose. There is order, intention, and hidden direction behind everything you face. People often believe that blessings are purposeful, but struggles are accident. In reality, both carry equal value. Both are tools. Both are teachers. When you begin to understand that every situation you encounter is meant to shape you, guide you, or wake you up, you stop resisting life and start learning from it. You begin to see that nothing happens without reason. Even the painful moments carry wisdom wrapped inside them. Every disappointment, every detour, every heartbreak has something it came to teach you. And when you train your mind to recognize that, you start to see God's fingerprints on every part of your journey. There are moments in life where something doesn't go your way and it feels like the universe is working against you. But as time passes, you look back and realize that if things had unfolded the way you wanted, you wouldn't be where you are now. That job you desperately wanted but didn't get taught you resilience. That relationship that ended taught you strength and self-respect. That plan that fell apart taught you patience and trust. At the time, those moments felt like failure. But with distance, you begin to see that those experiences were not punishment, they were protection. Life was redirecting you, turning you away from what would have harmed you and pushing you towards something more aligned with who you were meant to become. Even the people who challenge you are part of your growth. The person who hurt you taught you boundaries. The person who tested you taught you discipline. The person who betrayed you taught you discernment. Every encounter, whether beautiful or painful, is working like sandpaper, smoothing the rough edges of your character. Life uses people as mirrors to show you where you still need healing. Someone's cruelty might reveal your strength. Someone's kindness might reveal your blind spot. Someone's absence might reveal your independence. You begin to understand that every person who enters your life has a role. Some stay to build you. Others appear briefly to awaken something within you. And then there are the situations that make no sense in the moment. A sudden loss, a painful silence, a closed door you were sure would open. These are the experiences that teach you trust beyond understanding. Life uses confusion to stretch your faith and deepen your connection to something bigger than yourself. When everything is going well, faith is easy. But when life knocks the wind out of you, that's when faith becomes real. That's when you learn to lean into divine timing instead of your own deadlines. You realize that life is not just about what you want, it's about what you're being prepared for. Every challenge you face carries a lesson about who you are becoming. Your strength is being built in the moments that demand more from you than you think you can give. Your wisdom is being strengthened by the situations that force you to pause, reflect, and grow. Your patience is being developed every time life tells you to wait. Your courage is being sharpened every time you're pushed into the unknown. These lessons shape your character in ways comfort never could. Growth rarely happens in easy moments. It happens in the uncomfortable ones. When you begin to see life through this lens, nothing feels wasted anymore. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You stop resisting difficult moments and start extracting wisdom from them. You realize that life is not trying to break you, it is trying to build you. Every experience is preparation. Every moment is molding you into the person you need to be for the doors that will eventually open. When you look back at your journey, you will see that every challenge carried a message, every blessing carried a reminder, and every experience, big or small, was guiding you toward a higher version of yourself. What you choose to focus on becomes the direction your entire life moves toward, and this is especially true on a spiritual level. When your mind is tuned to notice negativity, all you will see is what's wrong. But when your mind is trained to notice divine order, divine timing, and divine presence, suddenly you begin to see God everywhere, in places you overlook, in people you dismiss, and in moments you thought were ordinary. Focus is not just attention, it is alignment. It aligns your perception with what you expect, what you believe, and what you continuously feed your mind. When you intentionally direct your attention toward the presence of God in everything around you, that presence becomes more visible, more real, and more powerful in your daily life. Most people go through the world with a mind that is scattered, reactive, and overwhelmed. They focus on what is stressful, what is missing, or what might go wrong. And because that's their focus, they start to believe that life is nothing but struggle. But the truth is, their life didn't become difficult first, their focus did. When you focus on fear, fear expands. When you focus on doubt, doubt strengthens. When you focus on problems, problems multiply. The mind is always magnifying something, and if you don't choose what that something is, the world will choose for you. But when you discipline yourself to look for the signs of God's presence, your mind begins to filter life differently. You start to catch the little blessings you once ignored. You notice the sudden inspiration that arrives right when you need clarity. You recognize the unexpected help that shows up exactly when you feel stuck. You begin to see the divine pattern behind events that previously felt random. And the more you focus on this spiritual guidance, the more guidance you receive. Focus is an invitation. When you tune into something consistently, you strengthen your connection to it. This is why people who focus on negativity feel overwhelmed. They strengthen their connection to negative thought. People who focus on gratitude feel blessed. They strengthen their connection to abundance. And people who focus on God begin to see Him in everything because their mind becomes spiritually open, spiritually awake, and spiritually receptive. It's not that God suddenly starts working more in their life. It's that they finally start noticing what has been happening all along. Your focus also shapes your emotional atmosphere. When you decide to focus on the divine, even in difficult moments, you shift your vibration from fear to trust. You stop reacting and start observing. You stop panicking and start listening. You begin to feel guided instead of abandoned, supported instead of overwhelmed. This shift doesn't mean your problems disappear. It means you start seeing the solutions that were invisible before. When you focused on God, your mind expands. You become calmer, clearer, and more grounded. Your decisions improve because they come from a place of wisdom instead of anxiety. Your relationships improve because you begin noticing the good in others rather than zeroing in on their flaws. Your journey becomes smoother because your internal world aligns with faith instead of chaos. The power of focus also shows up in how you interpret delay, confusion, and obstacles. Most people focus on what they can't control, so they feel helpless. But when your mind is trained to look for divine purpose, you begin to see meaning instead of randomness. You understand that the delay might be protecting you from something you cannot see. You recognize that confusion is sometimes a signal to pause, not to panic. You interpret obstacles as opportunities for strength instead of as signs of failure. This mindset doesn't magically remove challenges, but it transforms your relationship with them. Instead of thinking life is against you, you start believing life is shaping you. Instead of assuming God is silent, you begin noticing the quiet ways He communicates. Focusing on God also brings a sense of direction. You become more sensitive to intuition, inner guidance, and the subtle pull toward what is right for you. You start receiving ideas that feel inspired. You meet people who feel aligned with your purpose. You enter seasons that feel intentional rather than accidental. The more you focus on spiritual alignment, the more your external world aligns with it. Doors open, clarity increases, peace grows, life begins to make sense in ways it did not before. Every time you choose to focus on God, you strengthen the spiritual lens through which you view your life, and that lens changes everything from how you think to how you feel to how you move forward. When you begin to recognize God in the movement of your life, something powerful happens inside you. Fear starts to lose its voice. Stress starts to loosen its grip. Doubt begins to fade. You develop a strength that cannot be shaken by circumstances because your confidence is no longer built on what you see with your eyes. It is built on what you know in your spirit. When you understand that you are guided, protected, and supported by a force greater than anything that comes against you, life's challenges no longer feel like threats. They become passages. They become transitions. They become opportunities for your inner power to rise. This kind of strength is not loud or aggressive. It is steady, calm, and unbreakable. It comes from the quiet certainty that you are never walking alone. Most people depend on outward security, money in the bank, approval from others, a job that feels stable, relationships that feel safe, but all of these can change overnight. When your foundation is external, your peace becomes fragile. But when your foundation is spiritual, your peace becomes anchored. You start to move through life differently. You are not easily intimidated by uncertainty because you trust the one guiding you through it. You are not easily discouraged by challenges because you understand they carry purpose. You are not easily shaken by sudden changes because you know nothing surprises the one who is leading you. This understanding creates a strength inside you that circumstances cannot touch. When you see God in everything, you stop interpreting difficult seasons as signs that you're failing. Instead, you start seeing them as signs that you're growing. You realize that pressure is shaping you, not destroying you. You understand that storms are not punishments, they are preparations. You begin to sense that every hard moment is building something in you: patience, resilience, clarity, compassion, discipline, or deeper faith. This recognition allows you to stay grounded even when circumstances feel unstable. You aren't tossed around by every emotion, every opinion, every delay, or every disappointment. Your strength does not come from pretending everything is perfect. It comes from knowing that even when everything feels uncertain, you are held by something certain. Seeing God in everything also removes the loneliness that so many people carry. You no longer feel like you're walking through life by yourself. Even in moments when people don't understand you or support you, you feel accompanied. You sense guidance in decisions, comfort in pain, and direction in confusion. This sense of spiritual companionship gives you courage. It gives you the boldness to take steps that once scared you, to pursue dreams that once felt impossible, and to let go of things that once kept you stuck. You begin to trust your path even when it doesn't make sense to others, because you recognize that your journey is being shaped by a higher intelligence, not human logic. And as this inner strength grows, it affects everything you do. It shows up in your words, your choices, your presence, your energy. People start noticing a calmness in you that doesn't match your circumstances. They see a confidence that doesn't come from ego, but from alignment. They see a peace that doesn't come from avoiding problems, but from understanding purpose. This strength becomes your anchor in storms and your fuel in seasons of transition. It keeps you steady when life shakes, focused when life distracts, and hopeful when life becomes heavy. This kind of strength is not developed in a single moment. It grows slowly, quietly, consistently, as you train your mind to see God in places you once overlooked: small blessings, unexpected protection, invisible guidance, closed doors, open doors, delays that saved you, challenges that transformed you. The more you recognize this divine presence woven through your journey, the more unshakable you become. Your strength comes not from avoiding life's difficulties, but from knowing you are never facing them alone. You stop collapsing under pressure because you realize pressure is not stronger than purpose. You stop fearing the unknown because you understand you are guided through it. You stop doubting your path because you know it is divinely shaped. And with every new challenge, every new blessing, every new chapter, this awareness deepens and your strength grows in ways you never imagined.